Hello, everybody, and welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon as we are 1 week closer, a few days closer, a few hours closer to football season. Everything starts next week here in Central Texas. But we do get some college football this weekend. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll go down and talk about some other topics here today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here, whether that is on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. Make sure you guys like, share this stream, follow, subscribe, all of those good things. You can follow me. You'll see my handle at the bottom ticker on Instagram at Jalen Gillis. Same thing on Twitter. That's where you'll be able to find me. Also, you can follow this show, Centex Primetime, and you can also follow Centex Sports TV on Instagram as well and Facebook to be able to catch more of these clips, videos, and also the live stream that we do every single day here on Centex Primetime. Well, folks, lots to cover here today as we are entering into the last week of preseason. We'll talk about some NFL storylines here today. We'll talk about is this Micah and Jerry Jones feud going to get solved? Will we see Micah Parsons week 1? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the traction gaining on a potential trade in Cleveland. Will Shedeur get traded? Will Dylan Gabriel get traded? Kenny Pickett get traded? We'll talk about that today. We'll also cover some local topics. High school football season is right around the corner, folks. I cannot wait. I'm super excited to be able to cover all things high school football, especially in this greater Waco area. You'll be able to catch all of the action of the coverage of all the football here in Central Texas on a new show called Friday Night Flex. That is Friday Night Flex. It'll debut next weekend, August 29th on that Friday, where we're going to cover all the schools here locally in the Waco area. I'm super excited about that, guys. Make sure you are getting ready for that. We'll have more announcements coming for that so you guys will know exactly where to tune in, what you guys will be able to see, and all of those good things. We'll also talk about some of the things going on around the world of sports, obviously, the hot topics. We'll a couple things I've seen on the internet, and we'll also talk about some coaches that are on the hot seat in college football. We'll talk about all of that here today on Centex Prime Time. So thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we'll jump right into it. Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones could be headed towards a divorce. Those are the words used by ESPN affiliate Adam Schefter. We know Shefty, he's the GOAT when it comes to breaking any news in the NFL. So when he says something, I'll listen. I'm not necessarily sold on will this be a divorce or not. Not this year. In the future, possibly. I could definitely see that. The thing about it, when you become a Dallas Cowboy, you're almost a Dallas Cowboy for life. Especially we think about the Michael Irvins, the Emmitt Smiths, the big time guys. Michael Parsons is right there along with those other names. He wants to retire a Dallas Cowboy. Think about all the perks that come with retiring a Dallas Cowboy or spending the bulk of your career at Dallas Cowboy. Tony Romo's on CBS. We see Michael Irvin on everything. Fox, ESPN. He's got his own YouTube channel, I believe now. I've seen him talking on there with Deion a lot. So there's a lot of opportunities that come with being a Dallas Cowboy, but will that outshine the disrespect, the blatant disrespect from Jerry Jones is the question. See, when you won't even negotiate with the guy's agent, he wants to do some type of backroom deal where, hey, we shook hands and looked each other in the eyes as men back in my day. Like that's not going to work right now, Jerry. That's not going to work actually at all. Of course, my representation is going to review everything. Why do you want to negotiate with Micah Parsons and his job is to hit quarterbacks, not to negotiate? That's your job. So, of course, he wants to get his guys in there to negotiate. Adam Schefter thinks this is going to come to an end, and I agree to an extent. I think eventually Micah Parsons will be gone. Will it be this season? No, I expect him to play this season. I don't know when he'll play this season. That's really the big question. When will we see him? Now, he's owed about $20 million or so for this year, for this upcoming season. So he's under contract to play, and that's the same sentiments that Jerry Jones has said. He's under contract to play, so I expect you to play. But will we see him in week 1? Will we see him in week 3 or 4 like he did with Emmitt Smith a couple a couple of decades ago when he had Emmitt Smith hold out on him. Well, Emmitt Smith said it wasn't a holdout. He said it was actually I didn't have a contract, so there's differences between him and Micah Parsons. But that's the last time we've seen a really high-profiled holdout that looks like it's going into the season for the Cowboys. They got CD done right before the season. They got Dak done right before the season was out. Micah, I don't know. He's trying to play hardball, but honestly, he's out of moves here. He's out of moves. If he sits out and doesn't play, he's going to lose money. He's going to lose trust in his teammates because they all got his back right now. But if it's week 3 and the Cowboys are 0-3, they're not going to have his back like that, like they're doing right now. Dak Prescott has spoke up and had his back and had Micah Parsons' back along with other players. CD, we've seen Trayvon Diggs. All these guys have been behind him. But once we get to week 3, 4, 5, and the Cowboys don't have no wins, they're going to want him to come back on the field. Now, they'll also be putting pressure on the front office and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, but still, there'll be some added pressure there with Michael Parsons as well. I expect him to come back this season and play. I don't know if it's going to be week 1. And you think you have to have a guy like Michael Parsons in week 1 when you're going against not only your biggest rival, you're going against the Super Bowl champs. It's the first game of the season for everybody. It's the NFL opener on Thursday Night Football, Cowboys-Eagles. Doesn't get any better than that. And the Eagles might not have the best player on the team because Jerry Jones wants to drag this out. He said there's no controversy. He's going to stir the pot. You know, all the terrible things that you hope to hear from an owner or that you would hope not to hear from an owner. That's what Jerry Jones has been saying pretty much his entire time. And we're watching it. People like myself have suspected for years Jerry doesn't care about winning. He cares about storylines. He cares about butts and seats more than anything else. Like I've said on here multiple times before, went to a game last year, Texans versus Cowboys. As y'all saw, the Earl Campbell jersey up there and the Stroud jersey will be coming up very soon after that as well. But I went to that Texans-Cowboys game on Monday night, and it's jam-packed. It's packed top to bottom in there. Cowboys fans. I'm thinking it's going to be mostly Texans fans. We had a good amount in there. But Cowboys fans everywhere, drunk, still saying they're going to win, cheering against us, saying, oh, you guys go win the Super Bowl. Like, y'all haven't been to a Super Bowl, to a conference championship game in 30 years. We're in the same boat. Since the Texans have become a franchise and since the Cowboys have won last, or since the Texans have become a franchise, neither one of those guys have won. Cowboys or Texans. We're in the same boat. But that's all I heard. I couldn't even go to the bathroom without Cowboys and Texans fans arguing with each other, and I got to hear about 1995. Why are we bringing up 1995, bro? You know how many things were different in 1995? I ain't going to go and do like Stephen A. did. He named the top songs and all types of stuff since the last time they made it. But, I mean, it's really ridiculous. Like, come on, what are we talking about? But that's just from Jerry Jones doing. He wants to be talked about more than he wants to win, and that's a problem if you're a Dak Prescott, if you're a Micah Parsons, if you're a CD Lamb, because I think those guys are competitors and they want to win at the highest level. They're the highest paid. They're the cream of the crop at their positions in one of the hardest sports in the world. So, of course, they have an extreme competitive edge, and they want to win. Doesn't really matter, though. If your owner doesn't take it serious, it's not going to matter. If the Cowboy fans, which is the majority of people that watch my show, continue to support year in and year out, almost to a fault, then it won't matter. And I'm not telling you to not support your team because I'm a Texans fan. I'm in no position to talk about not supporting your team. We've had some dark years. I think back to, the COVID year. It's 2020. First time I'm able to watch football from top to bottom, no interruptions because no one's going to church. I've been going to church my whole life. No one was going to church. I get to watch every game, top to bottom, no interruptions, just me and the TV. And the Texans proceed to go 4-13 that year, something like that, 3-13. I don't know if that was like a punishment or a funny joke or something. I don't know what that was supposed to be. But we've had some dark times as Texans fans as well. But, we don't have an owner coming out and saying that he's going to create drama when there's no drama. It's more of a reality TV show, as we see now with the show on Netflix. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but I will check it out. That's what's more important in Dallas. If you're Micah Parsons, that's concerning. Because it's one thing if you're going to play with us winning and losing, but now you're going to play with my money, and we got to get played with on the field as far as winning and losing, and you pulling strings, you're picking players, you're doing all the things that owners aren't supposed to do. You're being a GM. Well, then I might have to look at that. For that reason is why I don't know if this will work long-term for Micah Parsons. It's going to be that one guy. Like I said before, I heard Marcus Spears say this on NFL Live. One of these guys is going to be the one. Jerry's going to mess with the wrong one and play with the wrong dude, and they're actually going to leave the Cowboys, and Lord forbid he goes to Philadelphia. He's from Pennsylvania. The Eagles always find a way to make room. I'm not even concerned that the Eagles wouldn't be able to make a deal. They make a deal. Somebody be shipped out of there quick so they can make a deal. And then your other NFC East rival that also just played in the NFC Championship, the Commanders. The Commanders have his old coach, where Micah Parsons had his best production. His most productive seasons were under Dan Quinn. Now that Dan Quinn's in Washington, I'm just saying if he gets on the free agent market, say they don't get a deal done, but he plays this year. Next year they'll franchise tag him. He'll play on the franchise tag. Next year after that, he's going to walk, and he's going to either go to Philly or Washington. I guarantee it. Philly, Washington, or Pittsburgh is the three places I can see Micah Parsons going if he was to get on the free agent market. I'm not saying he's on the free agent market or that's where this is heading, but if he was to get on the free agent market, Commanders, Eagles, Steelers. Those are the three places you don't want him to go, or the three places that he would want to go. And those are three places, if you're a Cowboys fan or if you're the Cowboys owner like Jerry Jones, you would hate to see him go. Obviously, Philly, you don't want him to go there, division rival. Same thing with the Commanders, division rivals. Got the guy that should have been the head coach of the Cowboys, but instead you strung along Mike McCarthy for that relationship to end up being terminated anyway. And then Pittsburgh, one of the Cowboys' longest rivals. When you think about Super Bowls, championships, Steelers, Cowboys, now Patriots, thanks to the GOAT, Tom Brady. But for majority of my lifetime, it was Steelers, Cowboys, going back and forth. Steelers getting on top now in trophies. Those are three places Micah Parsons ended up going, man. So if you're Jerry Jones, you don't want to see that. If you're a Cowboys fan, you don't want to see that. But that could eventually be where we're headed to. We talked a little bit yesterday about Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, of course, either one of those guys' names seem to consistently be in the media every single day, even when they're not playing like right now. Dillon Gabriel this weekend had his debut in the preseason game. People had mixed reviews. Like I said yesterday, I don't know how a guy could play better than somebody else, and he didn't. The stats don't lie. Shedeur had 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Dillon Gabriel has no touchdowns, 2 turnovers. Somehow, Dillon Gabriel really played a better game. He really controlled the offense. They start the narratives, and I, like I said yesterday, I like Dan Orlovsky. I think he's really good at breaking down the quarterback position, film breakdowns, all of that. But the bias, he doesn't want to call anybody bad. And now you see those low-key bias creeping out because he comes out and says, well, Dillon Gabriel, if I had to pick who played better, I pick Dillon Gabriel. And I don't see how in the world Dillon Gabriel could have played better. He didn't throw any touchdowns, and he turned the ball over. Not only did he turn the ball over, it was a pick 6. He throws a pick 6. Like, Cleveland, what are we doing, man? It's got to stop eventually. It's got to stop. You drafted him before him, I get it, and you want to make yourself look right. But come on. We've heard he's a super processor up top, is what we heard about him. If he's such a supercomputer processor and he can read these defenses, why did he throw a duck that ended up being a pick 6? It ain't like he threw, he trying to stretch the field and a guy ended up picking the ball. He throws it 8 yards away from him, pick 6. Kevin Stefanski comes out copping pleas. Well, the receivers were in the wrong spot, They weren't supposed to be there. Cool. That happens. It's preseason. Why did you throw it? Nobody made Dillon Gabriel throw that ball. Then he loses a fumble. Somehow his performance is better than Shadour's. Now, like I've said before, Joe Flacco is going to be the starter. I want Joe Flacco to be the starter. Kevin Stefanski wants Joe Flacco to be the starter. We all knew he was going to be the starter. The spot is for that number 2. Kenny Pickett's the odd man looking in because he hasn't played a game yet. First off, I don't trust quarterbacks to wear gloves. Let's just start with that. We know it's not going to be Kenny Pickett because he wears gloves. Why are you wearing gloves when you're quarterback? I don't know what's going on with that. Shout out to Teddy Two Gloves, man. Teddy Bridgewater. He does it too. But I'm going to get on Kenny Pickett, though, anyway. Why are you wearing gloves? He's the odd man out. We know Kenny Pickett's not the answer. We've always known that. We knew he wasn't the answer in Pittsburgh. Definitely wasn't the answer in Philly in the games that Jalen Hurts missed. And I don't see how in the world he would become the answer in Cleveland, playing behind the worst team. So the spot is for that number 2 spot, and it's going to be between these 2 rookies. Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders is going to get the number 2 spot. I think they'll keep all 3 of those. I'm not sure if they'll cut Kenny Pickett. They might want to keep him for trade bait in case somebody gets hurt. A quarterback gets hurt, you sneak up on a 6th round, 7th round pick for nothing pretty much. So they might keep Kenny Pickett around for that. But I don't see him being a real factor in this. Like I said, the competition between Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur for that backup spot. It should clearly be Shedeur, but the way this has gone all training camp, I think Dillon Gabriel is probably going to be in that number 2 spot. Does he deserve it? No, not in my opinion. They both only played 1 game in preseason. Shedeur clearly looked better. Shedeur is better than him in college. Shedeur is probably better than him in high school. Like, Shedeur's been better than him. So that's obviously I think Shedeur should be the number 2. But when you see just the conversation of how they speak about both guys, it wasn't Gabriel's fault he threw that pick. When Shedeur goes 2 touchdowns, no picks, he doesn't even call him out in the locker room. He almost won't say Shedeur's name. He calls out all the guys that get picks on the defense. Special teams guys won't even say Shedeur's name. So that's the part that I don't get. I know Joe Flacco's going to be the starter. I don't get why are they trying to not put Shedeur ahead of Dillon Gabriel. And it seems like they're making an effort to not put Shedeur in front of Dillon Gabriel. As Rocky stated, that's on the show a lot, stated before, if it's an apples-to-apples comparison, Shedeur Sanders is better, in my opinion, at everything. I don't think Dillon Gabriel has a bigger arm than him. Shedeur's taller. He weighs more. I think he can read the field better. I think he can read coverages better. Numbers speak for it. And Shedeur is a gamer. When the lights come on, we've seen what he's done at Colorado. We saw what he did at Jackson State. When the lights have come on for Dillon Gabriel, we watched what he did against Ohio State last year when the lights came on. We watched that happen. I thought Ohio State was going to win the first game, but Will Howard folded. It just came down to who was going to fold last, and it was Will Howard. But when they came back and played him, they got the doors blown off them. So, man, I don't get the Dillon Gabriel thing, man. It's confusing to me if you're trying to win football games. I know there's a lot of politics that are going into this. Narratives are going into this. Coaches trying to handle the situation the best they can. But if somebody's just better than the other guy, what are we doing, man? Let's just get him out the way. Hey, you're 3rd string. You'll be 3rd. Shedeur, you got the keys for now. If they mess around and get the number 1 pick and Arch is coming out, okay, cool. Go get Arch. I would understand that. Arch is a better prospect than Shedeur Sanders. Will he end up being a better quarterback? We'll have to wait to see that. That's to be determined. We'll have to wait to see, is he a better quarterback? But as a prospect, okay, I'll take Arch Manning over Shedeur as a prospect. I get it. But if that's not the case, why not just try to build with Shedeur? Forget the fact that he's a cash cow. He's literally printing dollars off for the Cleveland Browns the second he got drafted by them. You think you would want to keep him just for that? What I don't want to see is the Cleveland Browns being 0-6, 0-7. Shador gets thrown in with third string offensive lineman because everybody's hurt. And plays against top tier competition and gets smashed because his team is bad. That's what I don't want to see. But I could see that happening this year. If they don't do it to him, they should do it to Jalen Gabriel. Let's see if the dude can play. This last preseason game is going to be super interesting for the Browns. A lot of decisions to be made. Is Joe Flacco going to run with the ones? I'm not sure yet if he'll go out there and play with the ones or not, but he should at least get a series or two. I know he's 1,000 years old, but he should at least get a series. Jalen Gabriel and Shador will both get their chance if Shador is healthy to play. They'll get a chance, and we'll get to see during the same game who's the competitors and who's the entertainers. I mean, come on, man. Then he tries to back it up. Oh, no, I was talking about the media. I wasn't talking about Shador. When did we ever call the media entertainers? Sports media entertainers. When have we ever called the sports media the entertainers in this equation? Believe all those 80,000 people that showed up at the Dog Pound in Cleveland to watch the game did not come to see Tony Grossi. I think they came to see Jalen Gabriel, Shador Sanders, the Cleveland Browns. So that excuse doesn't work. We know what you were talking about, man. We all remember Dan Lanning coming out and saying they play for clicks. We play for wins. We remember that. That was just your coach, 8 months ago. So you're probably thinking that same thing. And you got to talking so quick that it came out on accident. And you didn't know how to back that up or reel that in. So you try to blame it on media. Do the regular thing. It's the media's fault. The media is trying to divide us. Well, no one made you come out and say that. You could have just said, well, felt like I played good. Hopefully I play better next preseason game. It's that simple. Get it out the way. Short and sweet. But the entertainers and competitors thing, come on, dog. Which one are you? I think Shador is an entertainer and a competitor. Stats better. Got the highest jersey sales in the league. Played a game in Carolina and it looked like a Browns home game. I ain't seen nobody with a Gabriel number 3 jersey or whatever his number is. A lot of Shador ones in there. So he's both. Competitor and entertainer. Jalen Gabriel, stop it, man. You'll have a great career in coaching coming soon, I believe, man. Give it about a couple years. I think you're going to be a really, really good offensive coordinator for Texas Tech or something like that in a couple years because this quarterback thing. I've said it before. I'm not saying this is nothing new. This isn't new hate, or this isn't even hate. If y'all watch the show, I felt like this pre-draft. Why would somebody pick Jalen Gabriel? Leave it to the Browns to do that and then also pick another quarterback 2 rounds later to keep some controversy going. The Cleveland Browns have also signed Isaiah Bond, who went undrafted, was battling some legal trouble. I was actually shocked that he went undrafted and fell that far into the draft or fell out of the draft like that because Isaiah Bond was, a projected first-round pick a couple of years ago coming out of Alabama. Season he had at Alabama as a sophomore made you think, oh, it's just first-round talent. It's like all the other Alabama receivers. Then he transfers to Texas, first-round talent. And then he gets injured throughout the season. Numbers doesn't look the way I thought. And at the end of the season, honestly, he disappeared. Now, he could have been battling injuries still, and that could have had something to do with it, but he disappeared at the end of that season. Matthew Golden carried that team, who ended up being a first-rounder. In my opinion, Matthew Golden carried that team, and Isaiah Bond was nowhere to be found. Now, get another chance, goes to the Cleveland Browns, of course, since we're talking about Cleveland, goes over to the Cleveland Browns and does an interview. that sounds like ChatGPT wrote this right before he walked into the press room. I don't know why he talked like that. I don't know if his agent went over it with him a few times or not. But it looks like when you're a little kid and you got to give the Easter speech at church and you just don't want to get a whooping, so you try to hurry up and get a speech out. That's what this looked and sounded like. Take a listen real quick to Isaiah Bond on his introductory speech to the Cleveland Browns.
Hey, Cleveland Brown. I've been playing football since 6, and I know it's a great privilege to play in the NFL, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I know there's going to be questions about the allegations, but my agent and my attorney have advised me not to go into detail. Since day one, I proclaimed my innocence, and I stand here today in that same way. I'm very excited to get to know my teammates and show the Cleveland Brown community why they made the right decision.
We'll open up for questions.
Very excited to be a Cleveland Brown.
So here's a interview there, very bland, cookie cutter, but hey, I like it. I like it. You're facing allegations, you're undrafted, you go into a team that's already got a lot going on. Hey, let's just put in the chat GPT. What should Isaiah Bond say to the media when he gets signed by Cleveland Browns? And we'll say that and memorize it. But Isaiah Bond, I think he could actually add to this wide receiver room if he's healthy. I remember what he was at Alabama. I remember what he was at the beginning of the season with Texas before he started battling the injuries. The Browns receiving room is extremely weak. It might be the weakest point of their team. The defense is pretty solid. Their receiving core is not. Now, I like Jerry Jeudy. I like the fact that Jerry Jeudy's got a second chance. And he did the most with his opportunity that he could do last year, especially considering the quarterbacks he was working with. Finished top 5 in yards, I believe. So I think, man, he really did a great job and solidifies himself as a number one, which a lot of people thought he was going to be coming out of Bama. He played in that stacked receiver room with Henry Ruggs and Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. He was the alpha in that room, honestly. If I'm not mistaken, when Devontae Smith won the Heisman, that was the following year after Jeudy was gone. But Jeudy was that main guy when they were all there together. Everybody thought he was going to be the best out of them, and he's proven to do that now on the Cleveland Browns. Outside of him, can't say anything about anybody else on this team. Cedric Tillman is supposed to start opposite side of him. I don't like that. They got Deontay Johnson. I don't know what to think of Deontay Johnson anymore. He's on 3 teams last year in one season. After making a Pro Bowl, getting paid. Didn't work out in Carolina. Didn't work out in Baltimore. Came to my Texans, didn't work out. So I don't know what to think of Deontay Johnson. Isaiah Bond could honestly find himself being that next guy. I'm looking on the depth chart now, and I know this is just, ESPN, but looking on the depth chart now, and they got him with the 2s. I think that's right where he should be. Isaiah Bond can make a difference on this team. They need to work with him on his Easter speech a little bit more. I think he could do a little bit better than that right there. But nonetheless, he definitely will make an effect, make a lasting impression here on this Cleveland Browns team. Folks, we're going to take a break here at the top of the hour. When we come back, got to talk some high school football. We'll talk about some of the teams that I like going into this next season. We'll talk a little bit more about Friday Night Flex. We'll talk some local topics, a little Baylor. And as always, we still got some quick takes later on in the show. And we've got a few hot topics we have to talk about. So stay tuned with us here. Go to a quick commercial break. Stay tuned and stay locked in with us here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break. Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis still here, getting into the second hour of the show today. Folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here on Centex Primetime, whether that is on YouTube, Centex Sports TV / Centex Sports Network over on YouTube, or if you're watching with us on Facebook, wherever you watch from. I want to thank you guys for tuning in with us here today. Just got done talking about Micah Parsons and his situation with the Dallas Cowboys. Also talked about the Cleveland Browns. Their terrible situation they have going on right now. Their quarterback, I don't want to say terrible. There's some terrible situations going on at the quarterback position, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them. But before that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us. Still have some more to talk about. We'll jump into some local here in just a second. But before we do that, I want to talk about a couple of these QB situations. As we were just talking about QBs a second ago with Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. And the Browns actually don't have the worst QB situation, in my opinion. I think that belongs solely to the New Orleans Saints. Talked a little bit about them yesterday. The Saints drafted Tyler Show in the second round. No idea why they did that. Think they have the worst roster, in my opinion, in the entire National Football League. They drafted Kelvin Banks out of Texas. That was cool. Right after that, taking Tyler Show in the second round with the 8th pick was questionable, in my opinion. Still was Quinn Ewers on the board, who didn't go into the 7th round. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders still on the board. You took 26-year-old rookie quarterback out of Louisville, who's mid his entire college career, had a decent season at Louisville, and from that, had a decent combine performance that looked so great that the New Orleans Saints said, that's going to be our guy. Now, yesterday when we were talking about it, Rocky said, maybe this is them going for Arch Manning. And I think that's the only thing that makes sense here is you get a guy that's absolutely horrible, has no chance of being able to beat out an Arch Manning if they were to draft an Arch Manning. So you draft him. I don't know if that's their plan. I hope that's their plan. I think they'll have the chance to get the number 1 pick. That depends if Arch is coming out of college or not. Archie, man, the grandpa, has already come out and said he's staying in college for 2 years. No matter what, I don't care what y'all talking about. I don't care what Arch is talking about. I think he'd ease up some if the Saints had the number 1 pick and he could return home to New Orleans and play for the team where his parents grew up, or his parent grew up, where his uncles grew up, where his grandpa played, where Arch grew up and played high school football. He could come back to the Saints, doesn't get a better sports story than that. But if the Browns get the number 1 pick, I don't think he's coming out. If the Jaguars get the number 1 pick, I don't think he's coming out. I think he'll just stay in college and make another probably $8 to $10 million playing college football. So the Saints right now have found themselves in a pickle. Spencer Rattler played decent. Y'all might remember Spencer Rattler from the Netflix show, the quarterback high school Netflix show. I forget what it was called. Had a few years ago. That's why I first learned about Spencer Rattler. He was on there, talking crazy, super cocky kid, talk bad to all his teammates, talk bad to other guys. He got humbled when he went to college. Went to Oklahoma, was a top prospect. Was the first time that Lincoln Riley didn't put out a monster at quarterback. He went on a run there with Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield and Caleb Williams right after that. Caleb Williams ended up taking his spot. Obviously, Caleb Williams is a way better quarterback than Spencer Rattler. Took a spot at Oklahoma, goes to South Carolina, has mid-years, gets drafted late last year, goes to the Saints, had some ups and downs in the time that he did play. I think he'll be the starter. Is Spencer Rattler enough to win you games in the NFL? Absolutely not. Do the Saints have a competitive enough roster to compete if their quarterback play is not that good? Absolutely not. We need to start T-shirts or something, a hashtag to free Alvin Kamara. He's stuck on this team. One of my favorite players of all time, Tyrann Mathieu, was forced into retirement because he wanted to retire in New Orleans. He's from New Orleans, wanted to retire a New Orleans Saint. But the team is so bad, he couldn't stomach going out there and just hitting people still to play for a team that's 1-15. It's 1-16. That's what I think is coming for the Saints. I think they have no hope. Sorry if Saints fans are on here. Chris Olave cannot stay healthy. That's just history. That's not me wishing anything on him or saying anything bad. Just history has shown us he can't stay healthy. I think he's a great receiver when he is healthy. Brandon Cooks is your number 2. That's not enough. Moochie Dixon out of SMU, they got him. It's not enough. Offensive line took some major hits as Ramsack retired, I believe. They got a young Kelvin Banks over there at left tackle. Young Trevor Penning. Eric McCoy's on his second contract. Cesar Ruiz on his second contract. But young offensive line that I don't expect a lot from. They still have Taysom Hill on this team. I don't even know what position he plays. Maybe he'll make a debut at punter this year because he's played just about every position for them. They got Cam Jordan, who's 1,000 years old on the defensive side. Demario Davis, who's 1,001 years old on the defensive side. Switching to a 3-4 defense. The Saints are going to be bad, guys. That's the moral of the story. I don't have to go through the entire roster. The Saints are not going to be good this year. Matter of fact, I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. They have a bad mix of overpaid, expensive, old players mixed in with very inexperienced young players. Maybe they'll get a couple wins in there because they're in the NFC South. I don't believe in any team in the NFC South. I think the Bucs will win it because their offense is going to be dynamic. I think they might have the best offense in the league this year. I don't know if that should go on one of my bold takes, but I think Baker Mayfield and the Bucs might have the best offense in the league this year, at least production-wise. They'll put out some of the best stats this year. But the Saints, even in that terrible division, I don't see them doing anything. Another quarterback situation that's going to get kind of glossed over this year because they got one last year with their guy. Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we have to start looking over there because you took Will Howard in the 6th round. You had an opportunity to draft Shador multiple times. You had an opportunity to draft Quinn Ewers. You took Will Howard, the guy that was missing open passes in training, or not in training camp, at the combine, playing against no defense. I'm not a scout or an NFL scholar, but if a guy is missing wide open passes in pretty much an open gym at the NFL combine, it's just you, the field, and air, and you're missing guys bad, I don't know if I draft that guy. Can Will Howard end up turning into something? Sure, maybe. I doubt it. I don't think he's better than Kenny Pickett was coming out of college. See how Kenny Pickett turned out with the Steelers. Why would I have much faith in Will Howard? What are they going to do after Aaron Rodgers goes on his farewell tour this year? Now, they have made some pretty decent moves, I will admit. I had the clip that said Steelers roster was nasty. I think they've made some improvements. Even since then, obviously adding Jalen Ramsey was a huge improvement. I think him playing the star, nickelback position, safety, wherever they put him, he's a problem. He still said he wants that one-on-one as a top corner. He said he wants that action with Jamar Chase. Ramsey, you were one of my favorite corners coming out. That Florida State team was one of my all-time favorite college football teams. You don't want that one-on-one with Chase right now, bro. You had your day, and you're still a really good football player. You don't want that one-on-one with Chase, though, bro. I don't think you want that, Ramsey. But he was a huge addition to this defense that's going to be good. If Cameron Hayward, who supposedly was practicing yesterday with them again, who's in a kind of soft holdout right now with the team, if he plays, this defense is going to be really, really good. TJ Watt, obviously, still got Alex Highsmith. Them drafting Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State, I think, was a sneaky, really good draft pick in the 4th round, especially. A great value to get right there. I think he can have some moments on his defense. Patrick Queen coming over from the Ravens. Peyton Wilson showed to be a pretty good guy last year at that linebacker spot. And their secondary is going to end up being one of the best in the league. Juan Thornhill, who, made his bones in Kansas City on the Chiefs. Deshaun Elliott, Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr. That secondary is going to be a force to be reckoned with. For that reason, I think the Steelers will be good this year. But what are they going to do the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years at the quarterback spot? They've been in quarterback hell since Ben Roethlisberger retired in 2017, 18. They haven't had a quarterback. Haven't been able to recruit a quarterback, haven't been able to find one, haven't been able to draft one, haven't been able to get one in free agency. For whatever the reason is, they've been quarterback poor. They dodged a bullet for this season. But when your backups are Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Skylar Thompson, it's not a lot to look forward to past this season. They've got to answer some questions. Last quarterback room I want to talk about that's got some questions to answer is the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Penix closed the season out after they overpaid Kirk Cousins just for them to bench him. Didn't make sense. Move never made sense. But they bring in Mike Penix, closed the season out decent. I'll say that. He closed the season decent. He's got to go out and have a pretty good season, in my opinion, to save the job of Coach Raheem Morris and their GM. Because if he's not good, this turned out to be a complete disaster for a roster that's actually built to win. Now, let me start with this. I think Mike Penix is good. So I think this will pan out for them. But they got to figure out what are they going to do with Kirk Cousins, his most expensive backup probably in history right now, making, $30+ million to not play. He wants to trade, obviously, or for him to be cut. I think he probably wants to get cut so he can go pick wherever he wants to go. Falcons are not going to cut you and eat all that dead cap money for no reason. They want to trade you. Teams, as of right now, are not putting in offers for him. But as we know, NFL, 100% injury. So somebody's going to get hurt at the quarterback position that has a competing team, and they could use the services of a Kirk Cousins or somebody like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets traded, but they got to figure out what's going on in that quarterback room in the Atlanta Falcons. Because if not, Raheem Morris will be looking for a job. Their GM will be looking for a job, because that'll end up being a complete disaster if both of these quarterbacks end up being bad and you used the 9th overall pick on one of them and the other guy you gave, $100 million guaranteed dang near. So the Atlanta Falcons got to figure out their quarterback situation. I want to go over to talk about some local topics here, as we are just right around the corner here on Centex Sports Network from football season starting here locally. High school football just around the corner starting next Friday, August 29th. I am super, super excited to be able to watch the teams this year. Obviously, to be able to cover the teams this year on Friday Night Flex, which is a new show debuting here next Friday, August 29th on Centex Sports Network. We're going to cover all things high school football in the Central Texas area, and I definitely cannot wait for that. These are some of the teams that I am excited to watch for this upcoming season, and you've heard me talk about them before. This is high school football now. I'm talking about some of the teams that I'm excited to watch. First one, obviously, the U-Dogs. University Trojans, man. Super excited to watch these guys. The growth of their team over the last 4 or 5 years has been great. We had Coach Foster on here, and I hope to get back in contact with him and be able to get him back on the show as we ramp up and get ready for the season starting next week. He's got a lot of confidence in these guys. And I feel like the city has a lot of confidence in University. Like I've stated before, University's got one of the best and biggest alumni base here in Waco. And those of you that are from Waco know what I'm talking about. Waco High's got a lot, but you have to remember Richfield and A.J. Moore combined into Waco High later on. University's been University, so they've got a huge, huge alumni fan base that's really excited to watch them, and I'm super excited to watch them. Returning quarterback Savoy Nichols coming in as a junior now, I think has a chance to really be special. He's got the size. He's got to build his frame out more, but the kid is young. That'll come. His decision-making got better as the season went on last year. Now getting another season under his belt, going in as a junior, he's throwing the top guys like London Smith, who's committed to Baylor. Their defense is going to be nice. They're returning a lot of guys. They got a Baylor commit in Devontae Kirkland on the defensive side of the ball. They're calling themselves a no-fly zone. I like it. I like the no-fly zone. I remember no-fly zone, obviously, with the Denver Broncos team that won that Super Bowl in 2015. I like the confidence, though, man. University is probably my number one team I'm most excited to watch, especially with them not having playoff success the last couple of years, because I think they're going to turn that around this year. They got a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but they got some key contributors graduating this year. They want to go out as seniors on a high note, man. Super excited to watch those guys. Next school I want to talk about, Midway. My alma mater, the Midway Panthers. They opened up the season against Westwood again this year. I'm expecting a lot out of Midway this year. They're getting back to what us as Midway, alum, fans, whatever you want to call it, are used to seeing out of the football program. Really since about 2008, 2009. We've seen excellence out of that football program. They had some dark years the last few years, but they've been on an uptick the last couple of years here. I really like what they're doing. Latham Wysetton, kids got offers from everywhere. 20-plus offers already. Everybody's looking at him in a run back. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. But I'd like to see, the totality of this offense. Obviously, I've spoke about it on here before with, PJ who's on here. Our nephew is on the team starting at receiver. Jacoby Hamilton, I think he'll make a huge impact this year. So I'm excited to watch this Midway team, man, to get back to where they were. I think they're in a division that's competitive, in a district, that's competitive. But I think they have a chance to win that. Them, Harker Heights, they'll be right there at the top of that district towards the end of the year. And then the last one I'm super excited to watch is a team we got to cover last year, and that's the La Vega Pirates, man. We got to watch them all the way till state last year, have a really great season. And they lost some key contributors. They lost Bryson Rowland, who's their all-time rusher at La Vega. They lost, guys like Warren Richardson, who's still playing football last year. That was a huge, huge piece for them on the defensive side of the ball. But they're bringing back Caden Rowland on the defensive side of the ball. They're bringing some guys back. Obviously, at the quarterback spot, they're bringing back Courtney Parr. That's a huge piece of it. For him to go all the way on a state run just in your sophomore year, you get 2 more years out of that, I think it's going to be special. They bring back the Oklahoma State commit, Jabari Thornton, who is electric with the ball in his hands, to say the least. If you haven't already, please go and check out his highlights from last season, man. The kid was electric. That's why he's committed to Oklahoma State. One of the best players in the city, playing for a team that got all the way to the promised land last year, weren't able to finish it off, played a stacked Carthage team, man. Look at where those guys are committed to, coming out of 4A ball. So that's saying a lot. Carthage was a really, really good team. They've been to like 9 out of the last 10 championships for a reason. But they had a great run last year, La Vega did. KJ Parr was a huge part of that. Jabari Thornton was a huge part of that. Caden Rowland was a huge part of that. Those 3 guys coming back give me a lot of confidence in this team. Obviously, being coached by Coach Hyde, who consistently puts out a good product each and every year. You can't help but to be excited about watching the La Vega Pirates. But we're going to cover not just those 3 teams. Guys, we're going to cover everybody here in the Waco area, all the teams in high school football in this Waco area on Friday Night Flex. So I hope you guys are ready for that. It's for, if you're traveling to the game, we're going to give you guys a little pregame. If you're coming back from a game, we're going to give you guys some postgame. But all during the game, to those games you can't make, and you want to tune in to see, quick highlights or us talk about certain teams, you got to tune in. And we'll also have a couple of games that you'll be able to watch while we're talking as well. We're going to give coverage on all the teams, though, in this Waco area. So if it's just in between, even if it's in between quarters, whatever it is, and you want to see, hey, what's going on? What's the score of this game? We'll be covering all of that, giving you guys nonstop coverage for the entire game length. So if you want to check over and see what's going on in the city, man, tune in to Friday Night Flex, starting next Friday on August 29th. Let's talk a little bit about Baylor. Baylor is also kicking their season off on August 29th as well. I've spoken a lot about Baylor this offseason. I think they had a great offseason in the additions they added in the transfer portal, in the additions they added through recruiting, the seniors that just came in. They're true freshmen that just came in this class that are going to get a chance to contribute. We talked last week about the injury to Dawson Pendergrass, and what does that mean? I think it means opportunity. And I like the guys that are going to get some run this year. Caden Knighton, true freshman. We can't stop hearing his name out of camp. Any Baylor reports, anytime you see the Baylor players interviewing after a practice, they just had the scrimmage last weekend, Caden Knighton keeps ringing bells. I'm excited to see them against the Auburn Tigers on August 29th. Those freshmen are going to step up. Michael Turner, another guy that had a great high school career, I think is going to contribute right away. Those two freshmen to go along with Bryson Washington, who might be the best running back in the Big 12. See, that's what gives me confidence about Baylor. I think we have the best quarterback in the Big 12, and Sawyer Robertson. You can debate some other names there. A lot of people say Sam Levitt. I'm not mad at that. But I think Sawyer Robertson is the best quarterback coming back. And they have somebody that could be the best running back or might be the best running back in the Big 12 in Bryson Washington. When you bring both of those guys back like that on offense, then you bring back Josh Cameron, who was extremely productive last year. The transfer portal, you add a Kobe Prentice from Alabama. You add a Cole Wilson. You add a Larry Brown in the receiving room. You recruit a Taz Williams out of high school who might make some production this year. You have a Jaden Porter who was a Central Texas product, kid that came out of Lorena when they went to state a couple of years ago. His name's been ringing bells in camp. Excited to see, can he go? I'm just going to come out and say it right now, y'all. I think Baylor's going to beat Auburn. We'll go ahead and get my prediction out the way right now. My prediction is that the Baylor Bears are going to beat the Auburn Tigers on Friday night right here in Waco, Texas. Why? Well, for some of the reasons I just listed. I just talked about some of the Baylor guys. Let's talk about some of the Auburn guys. Jackson Arnold has looked very lackluster in fall camp, spring camp for the Auburn Tigers. He's coming off of, really a disastrous year for the Oklahoma Sooners. Not saying that his numbers, he didn't throw 20 picks, something crazy like that. They lost a lot of games that they should have won, and a lot of that blame was passed to Jackson Arnold, whether they want to admit it or not. A lot of that blame went to him. Is that deserving? Maybe. I watched the games. He didn't look great to me. I'll say that. I think the quarterback situation is going to get them beat. That's that simple. Do they probably have the more dominant trenches? Probably. I think Baylor's got a pretty good offensive line this year, but if you want to say Auburn's offensive line is better, I'm cool with that. I think Baylor's got a pretty good defensive line this year. You want to say Auburn's defensive line is better? It's debatable, but I'm cool with that. Behind center, it's not close, man. We've seen a clip now of Coach Hugh Freeze throwing his headset onto the ground out of frustration because Jackson Arnold can't even get a playoff when they're in 7-on-7 in practice. Can't even get the ball out in time. Things we saw last year at Oklahoma could be repeated. Then when he was asked about, the starter quarterback, what's going to happen, says Jackson Arnold will be good for us too. But you start talking about the backup true freshman quarterback and saying, he's going to be a star. Well, why are we talking about him? Jackson Arnold is not only here, but he's a junior. You got 2 more years of him before we even get to Deuce Knight, standout freshman quarterback that's at Auburn. Now, obviously, the writing is on the wall, y'all. Jackson Arnold's not going to be their quarterback next year. But will he be their quarterback this year is the big question. Coach Hugh Freeze said you could see, you might see all 3 quarterbacks on Friday against Baylor. All 3? You think you're going to play 3 quarterbacks on the road against a pretty good defense, in my opinion, in the Baylor Bears. An opportunistic defense, I'll say that, because the secondary's got some question marks. But I like their front 7. Baylor, not even Baylor, Dave Aranda. You got to get this defense going crazy, man. They don't even know what they're going to do at quarterback. And we're supposed to be scared of Auburn because they got SEC next to their name. I got Baylor, man. If y'all want to know my pick, y'all want to know my predictions, let me find the line so I can give y'all my full predictions on it. But I got Baylor winning, man. You want to take Baylor money line? I'm going to look to see what the spread is right now. It's Auburn minus 2.5. You want to make you some good money to start the season off? Sounds like I'm doing a prize pick promo. You need to take Baylor plus 2.5, man. If I get that one wrong, y'all don't got to listen to me the rest of the season. I'm just playing. Definitely tune in for me to give out the rest of my picks and predictions. But to start off, my first college football parlay on that weekend, this is going to be at the top of the list. Baylor plus 2.5. They're playing at home. They're playing against an Auburn team who doesn't know who their quarterback's going to be. Hugh Freeze is saying we're going to play 3 quarterbacks, and somehow they think they're going to stroll in to McLean Stadium and get a W. I doubt it. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to be very run heavy because they don't know what to do with their quarterback. Luckily, thankfully for us, the strength of the Baylor defense is the front seven with Jackie Marshall and Cooper Lance and Matthew Fobbs White, who's coming in as a transfer, Marion Winston, who's coming in as a transfer. I think they'll be able to get after the quarterback. I think they have depth on that defensive line, different guys they can rotate in and out. You got 2 Big 12 All-American caliber linebackers. One of them was a preseason All-American already, and Keaton Thomas. But when you add Barnes into that mix, who was one of the top tacklers in college football last year before he transferred into Baylor, I think the linebacking core is going to be straight. It's going to be on the secondary. Let's make Jackson Arnold get the ball out quick. Let's keep the pressure on him. And not only Jackson Arnold, but whoever else gets in the game, because Jackson Arnold might not play the whole game. I don't think Hugh Freeze likes Jackson Arnold at all. That's just what I'm picking up from his interviews and what he's done so far, what he's talked about, the clips that have come out of camp. I don't think he's pleased whatsoever with the performance of Jackson Arnold. And can you blame him? Have y'all seen it? Did we watch last year at Oklahoma? I wouldn't be pleased with that performance either. But Baylor, poised for a good season, man. It all starts August 29th. I'm super excited. I cannot wait to watch this game. We'll be up here doing Friday Night Flex, but trust and believe we will have multiple screens in here going so we can see what's going on with Colorado and Georgia Tech, who play at the exact same time. But for sure, mostly we can see Auburn versus Baylor, man. That's going to be and thanks to the schedule makers, to the schools agreeing to this, for giving us a great opener. Man, I'm excited that we're getting great openers across all of college football. I don't know who took a stand a couple of years ago and said, I'm sick of these week 1 games being so trash. But they gave us some great week 1 games to start this off, and Baylor-Auburn is one of those. Folks, we're going to take one last break here on Centex Primetime. When we come back, we'll do some quick takes. I'm going to give you guys my top 5 running backs over the last 25 years. I guess that's the turn of the century. Since 2000 and up, who are my top 5 running backs that I like the most? We'll talk about some quick takes from what I've seen around the world of sports, how I like to do. Talk about some different things, and we'll close it out giving some coaches that are on the hot seat for college football this year. So stay tuned and stay locked in. We'll take one last break here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break. Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. Getting ready for the back half of the show. Final few minutes here of the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today and yesterday, as it was the 1-year anniversary of the show starting yesterday. So it was the anniversary week still up here on Centex Primetime. I appreciate all of you guys' support over the last year, man. This has been a phenomenal experience. We kept this thing going, and we're looking for an even bigger and better year this year than it was last year, man. So I'm super excited about some of the things we have coming up for Centex Primetime and just here on Centex Sports Network in general. Let's jump into some quick takes, folks. Last few minutes of the show, y'all know how I like to do it. Just talk about some of the things going on around the world of sports. Keep seeing these videos pop up, man, of guys my age and older, I'll be 30 in December, that are still playing football. They're calling it 40U on TikTok. Yes, it's the 40 and up crew. Man, these games get serious. I don't know if y'all have looked at any of these, but if I get bored enough, I will go on YouTube and look at highlights or clips of these games from these 40-year-old guys, 30, 40-year-old guys playing on what looks to be Little League fields in full pads. They coming out to warm-up music and everything. They're driving themselves to the games, obviously. It's like a big intramural for 40-year-olds. This has got to stop, y'all. Like, I know 100% for a fact that y'all health insurance at Amazon or Costco's, wherever y'all are working at, does not cover you getting your neck broken playing football. I mean, these dudes are laying people out. This has to be one of the most dangerous things in America. 40U football has to be one of the most dangerous things in America. These dudes are grown men hitting each other as hard as they can, unathletically, tackling the wrong way, people getting their neck broken, people getting paralyzed, whatever happens. It's like NFL Street for those of y'all that used to play NFL Street. But in real life, these are grown men with kids and children and a family that are saying, nah, I won't be at dinner tonight because I got a game. I can't even get it out without laughing. I got a game tonight. Those of y'all that are listening, if you are one of those 40U guys, this is your sign. If you were looking for one, please stop. I promise those injuries aren't going away. You're going to be stuck with those injuries. If you get a concussion, you're just going to have a concussion. There's no concussion protocol in 40U. You will just be at work with a concussion. You're going to put all our mail on the wrong line, wrong assembly line, and wonder why we can't get our stuff. We got the wrong packages getting delivered because somebody got a concussion at their football game and they were born in the 80s. We got to stop this, man. We got to stop 40U football. I don't know who started it. I don't know why it's a thing. Most importantly, I don't know who's filming it. Who's filming this that's letting us get a chance to even see this? No one should be happy about this. Dudes hitting blacks in 40s before the game starts. They got to stop, man. 40U is wild. In the fighting world, man, this one is kind of bittersweet. Jake Paul and Tank Davis supposedly set a date to come out with a fight. I say it lackluster like that because who wants to see this? On one hand, yes, I've been saying, okay, Jake Paul, you keep wanting to say you're a boxer and you want to be considered this and that. Why don't you just fight an actual boxer? I didn't mean skip to Tank to be the first boxer. Now, there's going to be an advantage to Jake Paul here, is that he's like 50-plus pounds heavier than Tank Davis. 6 or 7 inches taller than Tank. That's not going to save you, Jake. My first thoughts on this is I don't see this fight happening. I don't think this happened. I think it's just for headlines, for clicks. They're going to say we tried to set something up. Something's going to fall out later on in the negotiations. Catch weight and stuff, I guess that don't even really matter. I don't know how you catch weight. Somebody that fights at 200 pounds, dang near, and somebody else that fights at 136 pounds, 140 pounds. I don't know what the catch weight is there. I don't think this fight is actually going to happen. But if it does happen, we're going to see Tank knock out Jake Paul. I'm already seeing people, man, Jake Paul he's almost a foot taller than him, and he's 50, 60 pounds heavier than him. All that stuff matters until you fight an actual boxer. Tank's not just an actual boxer. He's a champ. He's one of the best in the last decade. Should be fighting Lamont Roach, but obviously that's not going to happen. Tank goes into the retirement and then says he wants to fight Jake Paul. Now, Tank's side, I get it. I know exactly why he's doing it. This is going to be a bag. If Jake Paul and his brother don't know how to do anything else, they know how to get to a bag. They know how to create interest and create storylines. Jake Paul's been doing it. His brother's been doing it. Now getting a Tank fight? I mean, we crashed Netflix trying to watch Tim versus Mike Tyson. The Tank fight, that's a bag. I'm really not that mad at Tank because I get why. The only reason I'm mad at Tank is you should be fighting Lamont Roach right now, so you can get your rematch and get that win. Even though I think Roach won the fight, but you can get that win back on your record, and then you can move on to fighting actual boxers. Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, any of those guys, y'all get on Instagram and Twitter and beef with each other every other day. Why don't y'all just get on there and fight? Y'all are fighters. You think you would want to get it done. That's the only reason I'm mad at Tank, because I want to see that. But I know exactly why he's doing this, man. This is a bag to knock Jake Paul out. You're going to give me potentially $100 million because that's what I think this fight could do. Jake Paul's got status. He's got fans. He's got supporters. And you know he's going to troll his way all the way to the top. He's going to do the most. He might call Javante a monkey or something. Like, Jake Paul will do anything, bro. He's crazy. Anything that'll get clicks and get likes, Jake Paul will do it. So in the promo of this, if they do have this fight, he's going to do something wild. He's going to say something wild. Will it get him knocked out? Potentially. But I get why Tank is doing it. I get why Jake Paul doing it. I hate it for boxing, man. They're making boxing into a circus. I'm a true boxing fan. I love boxing. They're making boxing into way more entertainment than it is the actual sport, man. And it's a sweet science, as they call it. One of my favorite sports. One of the most individualistic sports we have. Ain't no team, ain't no we blame it on the quarterback. We can't blame it on somebody not making a corner three or not playing defense. It's just you and your opponent. And they're making boxing into something else. That's why I don't like it. But, I get it. It's going to be a payday, and I'll be tuned in. And I'm going to pay whatever the fee is to watch it if it happens. So I'm saying all of that, but I'm going to be part of the problem at the end of the day because I'm going to be right there watching to see is he going to get knocked out by Tank. I know y'all think Jake Paul is nice at fighting now. He beat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson almost died a week before he fought Jake Paul. We're just going to throw that part out. And he's 60. And he's done every drug in the world over the last 30 years since he's been rich and famous. Probably an extreme case of CTE as well. But we beat him, or Jake Paul beat him, so we're supposed to give him some type of love for that now. I'm not doing that. But him and Tank fight, we'll get to see. What if Jake Paul actually goes out there and wins? Then I guess I gotta just be quiet because I've been saying he ain't fought no real boxers. He ain't a real boxer, even though now he qualifies for real fights now because of the certain number of fights he's had already. He can actually start fighting and competing for belts. Which I don't think that's gonna happen. When he fights somebody that's a boxer in his weight class, for sure, I don't think that's gonna happen because he's fighting it. 190, 200 pounds. Why don't you fight Deontay Wilder? He's trying to make a comeback into boxing. Deontay Wilder will, man, come on. And we know Deontay ain't the best fighter in the world, and he's fell off the last few years. But if he hits you on one of them right straights or one of them right hooks, Jake Paul's life is going to be changed. That's why he ain't fighting Deontay. It would have made more sense to fight Deontay. He's falling off. He's in your weight class. You'll be able to get clout from him. But going to Tank, come on, man. He said he wanted to fight Canelo. See, Canelo ain't going to play them games with you. Tank even might play some games with you. Canelo ain't going to play them games with you, Jake Paul. He going to knock you out for real. So you don't want that smoke with Canelo. But I don't think you want that smoke with Tank. We'll see if this actually sticks around and becomes a fight. I don't think it's actually going to become a thing, but we'll see if it sticks around and actually sticks. Some people were talking about the top 5 running backs on social media. I've seen a debate happening. Top 5 running backs since the 2000s. So y'all know me. I have to come with my list now of my top 5 running backs since 2000. At number 5, I got Shady McCoy, man. This is a guy that we see him now back on TV and stuff and see him saying certain things and think, oh, he's just tripping, that's Shady. And we're not giving him the credit he deserves for his career. Shady was one of the best running backs I've seen. LaShawn McCoy was a problem all the way from Pitt. He was a problem when he was at Pitt. All the way from Pitt into the Eagles was a problem. He's got over 11,000 yards in his career, over 73 touchdowns, man, 6 Pro Bowls, 2-time rushing leader, 2-time Super Bowl champ. One of the most shifty runners with the football in the last 25 years. That's what I'm talking about. This is not an all-time list. This is just from 2000 and up. Since the turn of the century, who are my top 5 guys? I got Shady McCoy number 5. At number 4, before y'all say I can't count, I'm just reading wrong. At number 4, I got Frank Gore. Frank Gore, maybe his peak wasn't as good as some of these other guys, but being a model of consistency was his name. That was his calling card in the league. 9 seasons of 1,000 yards. He's got 16,000 yards. Now, he played a lot of years, y'all, so I get it. But he's got 16,000 yards. You got to respect that. It's third all-time. He's got 81 touchdowns. Almost 4,000 yards receiving in his career. Longevity was his main claim to why he's on this list. But you can't disrespect it. It's hard to do it once. Some running backs only rushed for 1,000 yards once. He did it 9 times. He played almost 20 years. Frank Gore was a problem, man. At number 3, I got King Henry, man, Derrick Henry. For what he's done in this era, you know, some people say, oh, he's not better than this guy. He's not better than this guy. I'm not putting him above, Adrian Peterson. I'm not putting him in that type of conversation. But whatever the tier is right below that, I think Derrick Henry is in there, man. Dominant for years at the running back position now. He's got 9,500 yards and counting. Dude's got 90 touchdowns. 2-time rushing champ, offensive player of the year. He's hit over 2,000 yards before in his career. He's checked off all the boxes as a running back. If he gets a Super Bowl, we might got to start putting him in a different light, man, and start putting him in a higher conversation on where he ranks not only on this list, but on the all-time list as well. At number 2, and this is where, it's kind of just pick your poison, whichever one you like better, man. But at number 2, I'm going to put the Waco native, LaDainian Tomlinson, man. You can put him wherever you want on this list. He's on the all-time running back list as well. Probably the best dual-threat running back we've ever seen, the game has ever seen. You could pick between him and Marshall Faulk. Obviously, I'm from Waco. I'm going to pick LaDainian. But, stats are ridiculous, man. Dude's got 145 touchdowns, 145 rushing touchdowns, 17 receiving touchdowns in his career, over 13,000 yards rushing, almost over 5,000 yards receiving, 2006 MVP, has 31 touchdowns in a season. Do y'all know how crazy that is? To get 31 touchdowns in a season? Like, that's insane. We look back at the stats and we take some of them for granted. But tell me the last dude that got close to 31 touchdowns that wasn't a quarterback. One of the best to ever do it. One of the best to ever put the cleats on, man. LaDainian Tomlinson, 5-time Pro Bowler, 8 straight 1,200-yard seasons. 8 straight. First ballot Hall of Famer for a reason, LaDainian Tomlinson. Only guy I have in front of him is my all-time favorite running back, and that's Adrian Peterson, man. When you think about a traditional running back, he was that in every sense. He runs the ball hard. He's fast. He's got strength. He's got the jump cut. He's quick coming out of the backfield. He can get north and south. He can go east and west, however you want to do it, man. He wasn't a catcher of the football, so a lot of people put LaDainian in front of him for that. But when I think about a traditional running back, from high school all the way up, he was a man amongst boys. You can look at his high school tape at Palestine, unstoppable. You can look at his college tape at Oklahoma. A lot of people saying that was the best true freshman of all that they've ever seen until they just watched Jeremiah Smith. I would still put Adrian Peterson in that because he's playing a tougher position and running back. 2012 MVP, still mad that he did not break the record of the rushing yards. 2,097 is what he got. He only needed a few more yards, just couldn't get it in that season. And that was a year after he tore his ACL, came back and went crazy. Man, 8 seasons of 1,000 yards plus, over 14,000 yards all time, 7-time Pro Bowler, 120 rushing touchdowns in his career, 3-time rushing champ, ultimate dominance. That is Adrian Peterson. I think we would look at him different if he was on a better team. He was that Minnesota Vikings team. Before Brett Favre got there, it was him and Tavoris Jackson. Like, come on, y'all. He could have. I mean, he is one of the best of all time. My all-time favorite running back, Adrian Peterson. Those are my top 5 backs, though. I have for the last 25 years since the turn of the century. My top 5 running backs. I want to talk about 2 retirements here. One retiring from the league and one getting his jersey retired. John Wall announcing his retirement from the NBA. That one is huge to me. He was been one of my favorite players of all time. And then Cam Newton getting his jersey retired at Auburn. We spoke a little bit about it yesterday. But those 2 guys are 2 of my favorite players of all time. They came into the league around the same time. John Wall, I've been watching him since his hoop mixtapes back when only the good guys had hoop mixtapes. Everybody got a mixtape now. If you drop 30 points once, you get a mixtape. Everybody's got some type of mixtape on YouTube. But back when it was exclusive for you to get a hoop mixtape, John Wall had the best of all time. Still debatable who's best time. Maybe I need to do a list on that. My best time all time hoop mixtapes. John Wall is up there. Austin Rivers is up there. But John Wall, from there to Kentucky, what he did as a freshman, to the Wizards, man, one of the best. I still think he should have got another shot in the league. I'm mad he didn't. My Rockets had some part to do with that, but still ended up getting another chance. Teams like the Clippers didn't work out for whatever reason. But when he was on, John Wall was one of the best of all time. Let me not do that. Let me not do that because we throw that around too much. He's one of the best of that era. He's one of the best of that era for sure. You think about 2010s point guards, a real traditional point guard too. He was explosive like D Rose and Russell Westbrook, but he was his assist was way higher than those guys. Not Russ, obviously Russ, Mr. Triple Double, way higher than a lot of guys. A real deal, true point guard with explosiveness, gets his teammates involved, makes his team better, and locks up on the other side of the ball, man. John Wall, one of the best to do it. Cam Newton, we talked about him yesterday. Auburn, he is everything to Auburn. He's their best player of all time. They'll say Bo Jackson. I think it is clearly Cam Newton for what he was able to do, for what he was working with on that team, for who he beat. One of the best, if not the best, single season of all time. It's Cam Newton, man. It's number 2. Dudes will come there before and say, "Oh, I'm trying to get that number 2," and Cam told him, "No, I'm the same way. Well, I'm not letting. No one should wear number 2 at Auburn ever." What Cam did, we're probably not going to see again. That would be a guy going to a team. I'm trying to think of a team right now that's just mid at best. Somebody goes to Cincinnati right now and goes and wins the national championship. I mean, somebody goes to Auburn right now and wins the national championship. That's what it would be like. We would be shocked. That was Cam Newton, what he was able to do, beating the Georgias, Clemson, Bama, LSU, Oregon. Definitely deserves to get his jersey retired. Hopefully he's coming soon with the Carolina Panthers. I don't know what's going on with that. He said when he goes back to Carolina, he don't even see pictures of himself anyway. And they got pictures of all these other guys. Other guys have gotten to the Ring of Fame, and they said it's because Cam is not officially retired yet. I hope that's the reason. And y'all not going to be one of those guys playing around with who, in my opinion, is the best player in Carolina Panthers history. That's how you know Cam has got to be one of the GOATs, despite what y'all say now and despite maybe his show views changing y'all's view on him. If you're the best player at Auburn of all time and you're the best player in the NFL for any NFL team of all time, you're one of the GOATs. That's Cam Newton, man. I've said on this show before, I'm not tolerating no type of Cam Newton disrespect. Seems to get a lot of it because of his takes nowadays, but we're not going to do that on this show. Cam Newton is one of the best of all time. And shout out to him and John Wall on their retirements, man, because especially for that 2010s era, 2 of the most influential athletes. If you were in high school around that time like I was, Cam Newton and John Wall was everything, man. Both went number 1 in the draft. I want to say the same year. They both went number 1 in the draft. Cam from Georgia, John Wall from Carolina, 2 boys out of South, man. Shout out to both of those guys. Some coaches, as we get ready to close the show, that I think are on the hot seat for this upcoming year, man. Some coaches that are on the hot seat this year. I think for this upcoming year, these are some of the guys that I think have a chance to lose their job, unfortunately. One of them I talked about the other day. That's Brian Kelly for the LSU Tigers, man. And not that he's a terrible coach. I don't think he's, a great coach like some people think he is. But I think he's on the hot seat because LSU's culture is winning. You can't keep going out there and throwing out a 9-3 season, bro, especially now with the talent they have this year. LSU's talented every single year. The talent they got this year, I gave out some bold predictions yesterday, and one of my bold predictions was LSU winning the SEC. That's how talented this roster is. I think LSU has, especially if Harold Perkins can come back healthy and contribute. But Brian Kelly's got to get it done, or they're going to run him off. They're going to run him out. They ran Coach O out, and he's from Louisiana and won a natty. They'll run Brian Kelly out of there. Mike Gundy, one of the longest tenured coaches in college football, 169 wins for Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State is on the verge of becoming how Kansas was in the 2010s. You're in the Big 12, but you don't contribute anything. You mean nothing to the overall success of the program. And I've never seen that for Oklahoma State my entire life, pretty much. They've always been competitive, and majority of my life was Mike Gundy being the coach. But eventually, if they keep going out and they tried out another season like they did last year, they got to look to Mike Gundy. Yes, he's going to go down as probably the best coach in your school's history. But if they go out there and lose every game in the Big 12 like they did last year, Mike Gundy's on his way out. Sam Pittman at the Arkansas Razorbacks. He's 14-28 overall in the SEC, 30-31 since his time at Arkansas. Arkansas is one of those teams that, we don't see them in national championship contention often, but they definitely put out good teams, and they want to be more competitive playing in the SEC. You got a losing record. You've been there for a few years. You had a 9-4 season in 2021, but 7-17 over the last 3 seasons. That's not going to get it done in the SEC. It's not going to get it done. You're in the most competitive division in football, most competitive conference in football, being in the SEC. You got to be able to get that done. And the last one I'll throw out there is Mike Norvell for the Florida State Seminoles. Had that 13-1 record to start, or it was 13-0 when they cheated y'all and you didn't make the college football playoffs. That's over with. We remember the story. That's all gone. That's over with. Last year, you tried out there with DJU and the rest of the crew, and you get smacked. You go 2-10. You get blown out in games. You get embarrassed on national television multiple times. That alone right there will get you fired at a school like Florida State. The national embarrassment alone. I think this year they'll have a better year. They go and get Castillos, the quarterback out of Boston College last year. Had a great year under Coach Bill O'Brien. I think they'll be better this year with him behind the center. But they've got to prove themselves, especially playing in the ACC, man. They're in the ACC. I think the weakest out of the Power Four conferences. I think it's the SEC is the most competitive. Big 10, Big 12, and then the ACC. If you're in the ACC, you got to find a way to get wins. You're playing against Duke. Like you're playing against Stanford and Cal. Like those, that's your competition. Yeah, you play Miami and Clemson, now SMU. I'm talking about everybody else. You got to find a way to get wins this season for Mike Norvell, or I think Mike Norvell will be on the hot seat. But those are some of the coaches I think are going to be on the hot seat for this upcoming year. Folks, we are out of time here today on Centex Primetime. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today and all week, especially yesterday. The 1-year anniversary show had Wayne and Rocky Miller on here with us. We'll be back again to be able to talk some more as we get closer and closer to football season starting. Tomorrow we'll talk about preseason week 3 in the NFL. What's going to go on with the Cleveland Browns situation? Who's going to start in that game? Will it be Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shador? We'll talk about all of that as they'll get ready to play for this weekend. But out of time here today. Thanks to everybody for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV over on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Like and share this. You can see my Instagram handle there at the bottom ticker, at Jalen Gillis on Instagram. Same thing on Twitter. You can follow the show at Centex Primetime on Instagram, and you can follow the network, Centex Sports TV, Centex Sports Network, on all social media platforms at Centex Sports Network. So, folks, we will see you guys then. Thanks to everybody for watching. We're going to see you guys next time here on Centex Primetime. Everybody have a great evening.